John Fredericks. He's America's Godzilla of truth. All week long, he's world-renowned for his proficient proclivity to prophesy the people's political picks with pinpoint precision.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
Then, on the weekends, he gets with the guys that are pretty wise, and Godzilla wins. Godzilla Wins, the sports picking show for winning dough. Money lines, parlays, over-under, the best plays. You choose the game, Godzilla picks the winners. Get expert analysis, exclusive insights, and have a little fun. When the game is on your mind and money's on the line, Godzilla Wins is your guide to picking winners. Godzilla Wins, on the screens of your TV and favorite devices, commanding radio airwaves far and wide. Before you make that play, hear what the Godzilla crew has to say. Presented by West Virginia SportsNation.com, it's time for Godzilla Wins, all across the John Fredericks Media Network. Oh, yeah.
For entertainment purposes only.
Well, let's rock and roll. Hey, Godzilla Wins, baby. We got soccer. We got basketball. Oh, we got basketball today. We got a special guest at 10 o'clock. We got all kinds of good things coming up. We got Saxman. I think we got Dan, but right now it's just me and Sax. It's like the Sax and John show. Sax, just like the old days when we first started.
Right.
So
not new for us, right?
Not new. Saxman and I have been doing this duet for I don't know how many years, a long time, but it's good to have him with us in studio. You're on another edition of Godzilla Wins. This is the #1 sports analysis and handicapping show you're going to find in America. It's iconic. Thanks for tuning us in 9 to 11 on every single Saturday. We are right here. Plus, you get all my picks on Godzilla Wins. Went 1-1 last night and took it on the chin with the Twins. Lost a 4-3 game, but the score doesn't matter whether you lose 4-3 or 17-1. You throw the ticket away, so no good. But I did win with the Rays, so I lost, I think $10 on the day. But it's not like winning. But I'll have more winners today. Go to GodzillaWins.com, GodzillaWins.com, and you get my picks there every single day. And for what's going on, it's great to have everybody with us. This is a sports analysis and handicapping show. So we do give picks out. So if you or anyone you know has a gambling problem, I want you to call 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-GAMBLER. This is for entertainment purposes only. And of course, our advice, when you bet responsibly and only bet what you can afford to lose. It's either, well, should I bet this week or play golf? One or the other. But don't be betting your rent or essentials. Not a good thing to do. Only bet what you can afford for entertainment purposes in your life is the way we like to frame it. So, Chris, such an amazing run, Chris, with USMNT, with the men's soccer team.
Yeah.
Just so amazing, so much fun. We got in the Sweet 16. Basically, that's what it is. And Belgium just too much. A lot of people griping about different things, griping about the coach or this or that. I mean, it just seemed, Chris, like Belgium, like man for man, if you took both teams on the field, if we played them 5 times, they'd probably beat us 5 times. They just look like a better team. But maybe it was just an off day for us, but it all came crashing down. Now we're, worrying about Spain and France or something. It's like, whatever.
Right.
What was your analysis? The one and only soccer expert on Godzilla.
Hardly a soccer expert. I would leave that to my now son-in-law. I can actually say Nora got married on July 4th last week, a week ago. We were celebrating right about now. We're getting ready for the wedding itself. And Josh played college soccer. So I got to watch games with my son-in-law from his perspective as a high-level D3 player. And what's going on in the game, and it's really a fascinating game to watch. And look, John, I've been playing soccer since the early '70s. Literally, 1972, my team won the City of Troy, Michigan championship. Okay, I was all of 6 years old, I think. But no, seriously, I've been following soccer not closely as the kids grew up. I'm just trying to set a frame for your audience here. I'm not like the guru, the soccer guy. There's plenty of analysis that are on TV that are really awful at describing the game to the American audience, which I think yours is predominantly American. A little bit older, not really aware of soccer as much. But it is an exciting tournament. The World Cup is the largest tournament in the world. But when it comes to America, it's an exciting level of activity. We've had all this love shown to the Americans, but to have our team do as well as they have done, this tournament has been exceptionally exciting, has drawn a lot more viewers. We see the ratings are off the charts. This is a new sport that America is really going to be embracing. You know, if I'm talking about betting, or if you're putting a stock trade, I would put soccer. I would bet soccer long, and I would short other sports and other leagues, in particular the NBA, from a value standpoint, from a growth standpoint. Soccer is going to take off in this country. So many kids are playing it, and now they're glued to the television watching it. And you'll see more people gravitate to watching Premier League on Saturday and Sunday mornings in America as a precursor to American college and professional football, the NFL. And that's what we do in our family. When William lived here after he got married, we'd be up at 7 o'clock in the morning watching Premier League soccer matches, and all the way up till midnight watching West Coast football games for college. So there's a growth element to this, which is exciting for Americans and American soccer, and we're going to get better. We're going to be in the top 8 in the next. I think our program will be in the top 8 in the world for the next World Cup, which will be played in Portugal, Spain, and Morocco. But let's be honest, Belgium is just a better squad. And throughout the course of a tournament, when you play multiple games, yeah, you can have a chance to have an upset over Belgium, and we could have beaten Belgium. I would disagree with your analysis. We play them 5 out of 5. They beat us 5 times. I think they beat us 4 times. I think there's an element and an opportunity that we could have been in a much better position in that game. But yeah, they're deeper, skill-wise. Our defense is a problem. I think we have a dramatically improved offense in Balogun, our striker, who got the red card famously against Bosnia, which was a horrible call. Everyone knows it was a horrible call. You see the discrepancies between Lionel Messi of Argentina, and Cristiano Ronaldo getting their red cards. You see the discrepancies, and it's not fair. And FIFA's got its own problems. But let's talk about America. Our skill level is improving. We are much faster than we have ever been. Our skill level in passing is much better. But Belgium just scouted us better than we scouted them. They were in our passing lanes the entire first half of that game, and we adjusted, but we were flat-footed on defense, and they got that early goal in the 9th minute. We came back on a tremendous set piece from Malik Tillman, one of the greatest goals we'll ever see in American soccer history. That was just spectacular to get us level. But 2 minutes later, we're flat-footed again, and you can't do that. And you have to really focus on those elements of the game internally. So I think we were outcoached in that game. And no disrespect to Pochettino, I think he's a great coach, but you know, I just think we were outclassed. Their offense to our defense it was a mismatch. But overall, and the score is, I think, not indicative of the depth of the team the Americans have versus the Belgians. It's probably more of a 2-1. But they're a better team, and everyone knew that going in. They're a top 10 team in the world. We're top 15, top 16, and that matters. And it's going to show up. But we played well against Bosnia and Herzegovina. A lot of people were saying, "Why are we playing 2 teams? it's one country with 2 names." But just the nature of the Balkan states and the former Yugoslavia. But look, the future is so bright for American soccer, and I'm really excited to watch it mature. And look at the numbers were up against. Some of the numbers are up against the NFL championship games, the conference championship games, and that's exciting. I mean, we're out. When you see more eyes on soccer in America than major college football games, that's big. It's exciting.
Well, certainly having the tournament here and all the eyes on it, and our team doing well, I think there was an inspiration, no doubt about it. I mean, our kids been playing soccer forever and ever and ever, right? Everybody plays it, but it just never caught on as either spectator or MLS. Major League Soccer's never really caught on. I mean, I've never been to an MLS game. I could care less, really. I mean, I think we have the DC United here, but I would never go. Yet I played in high school. Now my son Joe is dating a young lady who plays D1 soccer for Maryland. She's an incoming junior, great defensive player, one of the best players on the team. So we're certainly going to go to those games once in a while. There's 8 metro stops and 20 minutes away, so we're going to do that. But I think it's elevated the game for a lot of people, just to get the knowledge of it. And, it's not, people always say, soccer's boring because there's not that many goals. Well, there are a lot of goals. I mean, there's not as many goals as hockey, but, it's not like it's that different. Like our score is 4-1. That's 5 goals. And average hockey game is about 5 goals.
Yeah.
So, this idea that, well, there's not a lot of action. If you understand the game, it gets a little better. But I think it's going to definitely increase Americans' interest in soccer. But the greatest thing about this, Chris, I mean, and everybody's been talking about it, the greatest thing about it was the foreigners coming in and loving up America on 250. I mean, I couldn't get enough of it.
No.
It was inspiring. I mean, no politics here, but just reality and fact. The Democrats were blasting this thing. It was so negative. The media was so negative about it. We got a contingent of people in this country that hate America. This is not politics. This is just a fact, just a factoid.
Right.
They just hate us. They hate their country. And then to see these foreigners come in and just loving us up all over the states. It didn't matter where they were, whether it was Houston or Arlington, Virginia. Didn't matter where they were.
Yeah.
San Diego, loving us up. Seattle, just great and inspiring, Chris.
It was so, I mean, it gives me chills, and it brings me almost to tears to see people come to us and say, here's the mirror, America, you not only are a great people, you are a good people. You have welcomed us. You have shown us a side of yourself that the media in the world has portrayed you to be the exact opposite. They felt lied to. Our nation should be so proud of who we are on a daily basis as a people, and not listening to the media, which exists only for conflict. Comparatively speaking, having been to Europe and South America just in the last 2 months, I can tell you we're fantastic. We have got it going on. But to have people come here and say, my God, do you know how great you have it in this country? You have air conditioning. What's that?
They fill up your iced tea without you asking.
Refills, clean bathrooms on the highway. What the hell's going on?
And you don't have to pay for them.
Right. No,
in Europe, apparently you got to pay for the bathroom. And then, of course, the iconic one of all time is the guy going to the beef briquette place in Texas and not ever seeing that. And then, will you get chips and salsa for free?
Right, we didn't order this.
It was hilarious. But
I asked that in a debate I moderated. I said, "Are you in favor of free refills, free bread, and free chips and salsa?" And they're all like, "Oh yeah, we are."
I mean, it just we need some positive things going.
Oh, and that song that Jacob Stills, is that his name?
Yeah.
I swept. That's my favorite new song. I listen to it when I'm mowing the lawn with my headset on. I'm like, welcome to the land of the free. And he lays out everything that's happening in this tournament. And we're not even there yet. We're not even we're now at the Elite Eight, which is super exciting. And I hope the American audience continues to watch the game.
I think they will.
I think they will. There's a lot of great soccer yet to come. Now, there's 2 games on today.
Now, I've also got a theory, okay? If you look at the sports betting sites, the wagering on soccer is gone up like 100x since the last time.
Oh, sure. Oh, sure.
It's enormous.
Oh, yeah.
And we thought about putting it on Godzilla wins, and because it was short term, I just didn't want to spend the money. I probably should have done that. But I just was like, I don't want to do that because I got football coming up and I got to spend for that. So I didn't do it. But
it's a global audience. And there was when we had our Super Bowl on back in, was it February? And you and I watched it together, right? We were in the bus in was it Houston? We were in Houston or Dallas?
Yeah.
Houston. That same day, that morning, Arsenal and Manchester City played in the English Premier League and had 5 times the audience as the Super Bowl. Globally had 5 times the audience. If you're not paying attention to how big this sport is globally, the business that it is, the betting that goes on. They have betting kiosks in the stadiums. In Premier League, like literally, you can walk up and have like a an MGM bets in the stadium. They're not shy about it, and it draws an audience. And I think it could be an important part of Godzilla Wins in the fall. Just to have a segment just talking about this, because kids are up watching this game. on Saturday mornings at 7 and 9 o'clock in the morning before the college football pregame stuff even starts.
So I mean, we got the Elite Eight now, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's not set yet. We'll talk about some
No,
of the
it's set.
games.
Yeah, Spain won the first round.
Right.
They beat Belgium. Good.
Right.
Well, I don't like both teams.
Right.
Spain.
Well, maybe we should put that up because you still got a bunch more big games.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah.
So I'll talk to Scott about it. But the wagering on it is off the charts. In fact, my kiosk in DC that I go to, which is a block away, the ABC liquor store, which is my favorite way to bet. You go up there, you get a bottle of Grey Goose, and you put your money in the machine. It's kind of fun, and it's a lot more fun, I find, than online, because when you win, you go cash your ticket, you get the money,
Right.
even though you put it right back. I just want to get it. Where when you're online,
Yeah.
it's a little bit different. It's just a balance.
Yeah, and for the audience who go, oh, they don't score enough goals. The excitement comes from not scoring because it's so close, it's so dramatic. I mean, you see the balls go up because every goal counts so much in soccer, and it changes the dynamic. And it's not like, oh, we'll get a couple of touchdowns in the second half. No, you won't. They're going to park the bus, and you can't do a damn thing about it. They're going to pack in all 10 defenders there, and you can't do anything about it. You can hope for a counteroffensive move, and that's the game as it evolves, and the American audience, grows to appreciate and understand it, and sees the spacing and see how technically precise these guys are with their feet. I mean, catching the ball after a 50-yard pass with their foot. Imagine that. It's an extraordinary level of athleticism. And really, the telling feature for me, for your audience, our audience in America, which is probably a mature male audience, is that Antonio Freeman's son who played in the NFL, I think he went to Virginia Tech, played for the Packers as a wide receiver, a great wide receiver. His son was on the starting 11 for America. And that tells you what's coming up in the future. When NFL players are saying, my kids are going to be playing soccer, they're worried about CTE, they're worried about all these different things, but if there's a future there's a financial future.
Hey, that is a great point. Let's bring Dan in here. We got Dan Hobgood on. Dan, thanks for joining us. Chris, that is a great point because this whole football thing with concussions and concussion protocol as young players is real. Yep. And I know for myself, my older son, Jack, played football, through Pop Warner or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then, so he played it. But when we knew that Joe was going to be an elite pitcher, when we just knew he was an elite ball player, right. He wanted to play football. I wouldn't let him. I mean, as a father, I wouldn't let him play it in middle school. I wouldn't let him play it in high school. Yeah. I'm like, you're not big enough. You've got no future. You can only get hurt. You're never going to get drafted. You're never going to play. Right. So I know it's fun, but if you're focused on being an elite ball player, why have that risk? But deep down, I was like, I don't want to play in anyway because I don't want him to get a concussion. Right. But yet my older son played, and I had no problem with that. He was bigger. Jack's a big guy. So that had something to do with it. But also, so much has come out since then. Jack's 35, Joe's 22, so we got a 13-year span. Right. So much has come out about these injuries. Parents have to take, they have to take stock of this, and they're like, okay, well, my son plays soccer. The risk of concussion goes way down, right?
Right. No, it's extraordinary because my parents steered me into soccer and I'm 60. This is like in the 70s. My parents are going, we really don't want you playing football. We think it's too dangerous. And I graduated high school 6'1", 185. I mean, if I played football, I'd have been on the offensive line. That's just the way it is. And I went to college. I was taller and bigger than some of my football roommates. I'm like, you mean I'm bigger than you guys? I never thought of myself as being bigger. But the parental discretion and the parental control and consent is going to drive a lot of this. And you see younger and younger athletes in the NFL dying or having their brains donated to CTE research, and you're going, what are we doing? What are we really talking about here, guys? And if you're under 6'3" and you're a really good athlete, you should be looking at soccer as a path forward for your future, not just to go play in the pros. Maybe God willing, you get there, you have the athleticism, you get the training, you get the coaching, you get the exposure. But to get a college scholarship is going to be, especially if you're a girl, Title IX. You know, this is why Democrats, I think, are blowing it on the bathroom issue, the sports issues, because Title IX is such an important elevator of women's athletics and why we're so dominant.
They're blowing it on everything. Okay, but we're not going to get into politics, lest I get a text from our son that runs Godzilla.
Well,
I don't want to deal with his text.
I know, but culturally, it's going to manifest itself, and it's really important to understand. And believe me, I want to take time off from politics too, like we're doing the show. But it's going to manifest itself, and because sports is so culturally important and dominant in this country, quite frankly.
That's true.
You know, you see it everywhere. And I was at Michael Robinson, who went to Penn State. He's from the Richmond area. He had a fundraiser. You know, I met Michael Irvin and a bunch of the guys that were there. You know, Richard Sherman was there. But I was also talking with Michael Robinson because we were doing some other things together. And I'm in a small group with these guys, and they all have kids now, and they're all going, we're going to put our kids in soccer or track and field. They're not really pushing their kids. Or golf. They're not really pushing their kids. And these are former NFL players at a very high. I mean, 2 Hall of Famers.
No.
You know, Richard Sherman, I think, goes in the Hall of Fame. But, you know, Michael Irvin's going, you know, guys, what are we talking about here? You know, if I want my kid to play and be successful, where am I going to put them? And, they live in wealthy suburbs now, and they're going, hey, let's get them in these programs.
Guys, we got to go to a break. When we get back, we're going to be talking about the how Egypt lost this game. I know you guys want to get out of soccer, but we cannot leave soccer with how you blow a 2-0 lead with 11 minutes to go, and then one of the goals should have been disallowed. It's unbelievable, and Egypt's got a beef here. They got a real beef.
Well, they have a real beef because they you know, in the NBA they have continuation, and you get the point. And in soccer, apparently, you can foul a guy on your goal line, and he can go the length of the field and score, and they'll pull the whole thing back. I'm like, that doesn't sound too smooth at all.
That's a rule that I think has been exposed. We got to go to a short break. Word from our sponsors. And now, Chris, I don't know how long Godzilla Wins has been on the air, 6 years, but now all of a sudden, just out of the blue, this thing has exploded. Our audience has tripled. I have no idea why, but for those tuning us in, thanks for being with us. And I think it was my hockey picks that drove the show up. When does hockey start again? Let's go. We're going to be right back after this word from our sponsors. In the house, Coach Vince Mayako, the old ball coach, is with us. Dan Hobgood, Chris Saxman, John Fredericks sitting in for Mitch Rogers. We'll be right back.
You woke up with a sore throat and a low-grade fever. You know you are getting sick, so here's your choices. You can get sicker and miss work. Try to see a doctor this week or sit hours in a crowded waiting room at urgent care.
I have a smarter option for you. Open your medical emergency kit. Match your symptoms to doctor-recommended prescription in your booklet and take the right meds now and get well faster.
This is not a first aid kit. It's like having an urgent care in your home. It includes doctor-prescribed medications to treat over 39 medical issues like respiratory infections, strep throat, pneumonia, UTIs, and more.
No waiting to see the doctor and no standing in line at the pharmacy. It's right here.
Every home should have at least one medical emergency kit, and here's how to order.
Order online fast and save $45. Your kit with prescriptions to treat common and life-saving illnesses is rushed to your door. Visit twc.health/Godzilla. Promo code Godzilla. That's twc.health/Godzilla. Promo code Godzilla.
The best part about waking up in the morning is a great cup of coffee, and I get this every day with my 1775 coffee. It's rich, it's bold, best tasting coffee I've ever had. Single origin, farmed in Bolivia, 7,000 feet. It's always fresh, roasted daily. This is the best coffee you're ever going to get. Go to 1775coffee.com, 1775coffee.com. Promo code Godzilla, 10% off. It's going to make your day every day.
John Frederick,
It is the most egregious thing I've seen in a lifetime.
President Trump.
The whole thing is ridiculous.
When politics start getting wild,
They want to have every single thing that you don't want. Raise taxes, men and women's sports. They're going to open up their border.
Trump hits the speed dial.
Thank you for calling in on such short notice.
You came first, John.
Wake up with the John Frederick Show weekday morning, 6 Eastern, 5 Central on JFMN.TV, the massive J-Fred radio network, and all across the socials.
You came first, John. Thank you very much, and you do a great job.
Godzilla Wins, where you get the best insight and best information on how to win the most money ever.
Guess what? GodzillaWins.com. Let's talk more winners.
Back to the show.
You need to fix the Godzilla Wins ad, get it to a 30-second, and there's one little blip in there that it goes a blip. So if you can fix that for me next week, Al, I would appreciate it. And if you confirm that in the chat, that'd be awesome. Thank you. Okay, guys, good to have you back. We got you're on Godzilla Wins. We've got the old ball coach now, Coach Vince Mayako is with us, Chris Saxman, Dan Hobgood, my producer in the morning. And so we're good to go with that. Let's get to the Egypt thing. This game, unbelievable, guys. Egypt's got a 2-0 lead with 11 minutes to go. This game's over when you really follow this level of soccer. I mean, when you see these elite teams, when they get this kind of a lead with 10 minutes to go, 13 minutes to go, they just stack the defense so that it becomes impenetrable. I guess it was kind of like the Maginot Line, right? Didn't really become that impregnable or impenetrable, whatever.
They call it parking the bus.
Parking the bus, right? They stack everybody on defense. You can't score. But then Egypt gives up 2 goals, ends up losing to Argentina 3-2, and then there's the goal that should have been disallowed, or should not, or whatever the thing was. But it's now an international scandal. Let's bring Coach, the old ball coach, in, Vince Mayako. What did you make of that whole thing, Vince?
Yeah, my interpretation of VAR was to help the referees with offside calls, with fouls in the box, and maybe turning a yellow card into a red, or turning a red into a yellow, not taking like what we saw in the U.S. game where it went from really essentially no foul to a red, and we saw a similar play like that happen in the England game where nothing was called, and it all of a sudden they went to VAR and it went to a red. And to use VAR in that instant you're talking about, John, essentially something that happened, on the opposite end of the field, and it's almost like a turnover essentially, and then they go the length of the field, and put a goal in, and then all of a sudden they go to VAR saying, yeah, there was a foul that happened, 75 meters down the field. And it just, it's this whole FIFA's got to figure this one out. Unfortunately, you would hope they would have figured it out before the biggest event in their sport, the World Cup. But to use the VAR to essentially make a non-controversial call into a controversial call defeats the purpose of VAR.
Totally. I mean,
well, VAR is one of the most controversial aspects of soccer, international football, because they review things, and when you're in the stands, you're watching on television, you're not supposed to stop the action as it's playing out. Like the hydration breaks are just culturally so different for these folks. But when you do that in VAR, it's like you blame the machine, and you blame the people who are adjudicating the machine, what they're showing. And when you slow down, Balogun's foul on Bosnia-Herzegovina, it looks pretty bad, but in real time, it's so bang bang. You couldn't have called like there's some intentionality to it, like there was it was trying to hurt him. So a yellow card in that situation, absolutely fine. Stopping a goal after it's already been scored, after they've run the entire length of the field and you've given them the entire run of the field, is inappropriate in my estimation. But they make the call, and you got to live with the call. And that's just the nature. And I don't think red cards should ban you from the next game. I think that's silly. Maybe the first half, like we do in college football. If you get a targeting call, you're out for the next half of the game as well. But this is a problem that FIFA has to get a hold of before it ruins some momentum that they've built up. But by and large, it adds to the drama. It adds to the spectacle, and it adds to the eyes on the prize. So,
and also what it does too, Sax, it gives those conspiracy theorists the thought that everybody's helping out Messi. We want Messi, and this just adds fuel to the fire, does it not?
Do you think that was happening?
Who knows?
Yeah, I know.
But for those that believe that, think there you go. There's proof
again.
Well,
it's like when
Messi.
In the NHL, when they disallow a goal because they can slow it down and see the precision with which they are offsides, and you go, okay, well, he was offsides, and I guess we gotta do that, and you do it after the fact. But that one in particular was like, okay, there was a foul, but why didn't the guy who has the discretion called on the sidelines call it then? And if he doesn't, you got to let the play. And if you let the play, you got to deal with the play. That's just, you can't go back and in the sixth inning, go in the fourth inning. Oh, there was a strike on the plate, and we're going to rearrange the entire game. You can't do that. Can't do that. Shouldn't do that.
He is what, the most famous soccer player in the world. Like 20 years later, Saxy and I are still hearing from Seahawks fans about how Super Bowl 40 was given on a silver platter to the Steelers. It's like
look, you're not going to get every call in every game. But if you're really good, you're going to be in position to get a lot more calls than you otherwise would have. So yeah, in New England, they get a lot of calls because they're in a lot of games. Messi and Argentina are going to get a lot of calls because they're in a lot of games and they're really good. And just by virtue of their repetitiveness and being on the screen, you're going to go, oh, these guys are getting all the calls. Well, a lot of teams get a lot of calls, but they don't show it both ways and you don't balance it out. That's why you rely on the referees to call a game.
Jordan and LeBron in basketball. Don't
get me started. We're not allowed to talk to him about the NBA negatively here. I want to stay on for the next 28 minutes before Alex yanks me off. It's like, come on. But, that's one of the problems in VAR is you have a continuation after a foul because if you have the advantage, you play the advantage. But it was reversed on the Egypt call against Argentina, but taking nothing away from Argentina. Let's be honest. Messi is unbelievable. The skill level on that guy, the intelligence on that guy is otherworldly. And I don't think it's even close. I don't think it's even close with Ronaldo. At this stage of their career, anyway, and good on Argentina. They didn't give up. They kept the pressure up. Egypt scored on counterattacks, which is all they had. They're not going to win the midfield. They're not going to win that battle at all. And when you turn the ball over against them, they can be lethal, like Morocco could have been lethal against France, but they're just not. I mean, France is just too deep. They're just too deep.
Interesting perspective. Let's get on to some of these games that are remaining now, and I am going to try to get him up on Godzilla Wins if I can this weekend. But let's get to two of the quarterfinals today. Norway and England. This is in Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. Norway got here. They beat Brazil 2-1. Nobody saw that coming. This has been Brazil's earliest exit in 27 years. And following this, England beat Mexico. And the big storyline here is the English defense. And can Norway really keep it going? It's very tough to score on England. Let's go around the panel. Norway and England, 5 p.m. today Eastern. What do you guys see in that game? Let's start with Saxman.
Heat and humidity. Welcome to the sunny south of America. You're in tropical United States at 5 o'clock. The heat and humidity is going to be at a peak in Miami Hard Rock Stadium. Last weekend, the Norwegians beat Brazil in New Jersey. It's a different. First of all, you have to factor that in. I mean, this is Norway and England. They don't play in this kind of tropical paradise, first of all. But Norway is a very tall team. And when it comes to headers in the set pieces and the corner kicks, they have a distinct advantage because you have 6'5" Erling Haaland, who's one of the most dynamic players in the world. He's going to make a difference, and he's going to win some heading battles like he has and did against Brazil. It would be an upset if Norway wins. England is a better squad, front to back. But Norwegians got a little bit of momentum, and I wouldn't be surprised at all. I would bet for England to win, but I wouldn't bet any spreads. It's just take the straight up England against Norway. I think they win outright, but it's going to be close because Norway's dangerous.
What do you think, Vince?
Well, you got star power here. You got the before mentioned Erling Haaland and also Harry Kane. I mean, right now those are probably two of the top. I think two of the top 5 players in this tournament going head to head. Haaland has willed Norway, and I love how they play the underdog role. Like, hey, we're not supposed to be here, but here we are. Well, you know what? You're here because you're a pretty good team. You're a really good team. Now, I'm not a big better when it comes to soccer, but there's two interesting plays that you can do on this. Is the result after 90 minutes? If the game ends, Norway is plus 300, England is minus 110. However, if it goes to extra time, and ultimately penalty kicks, that changes. It goes to Norway plus 165 and England minus 210. So my thought process is, hey, throw a little money on Norway to win this in regulation at plus 300.
Yeah, no, that's part of the strategy of the betting. That's why the game's so fascinating. Look, Norway came into this tournament ranked, I think, like 30th, and they're now close to the top. I think they're like maybe 15th in the FIFA rankings. So they're playing, they're overperforming the expectations by a lot. But I think when you get to this level in the Elite Eight, it's going to come crashing down at some point. And this is probably the last game they play in this tournament. And it's unfortunate. They got a great team, they got a great leader in Alon. But again, the height difference for Norway could be the deciding factor here. And I love Harry Kane, striker for the Brits, for the English.
All right, well, I'm betting Norway, and I'm taking 160 right now on DraftKings. England minus 200, Norway plus 160. I'm going to take the $1.60 with Norway, and here's why. I think they got a tremendous amount of confidence going into this game. Nobody saw them coming. Nobody saw them beating Brazil. They played a great game. They put everything together, as I understand it. And then what I've been hearing is England, as great as their defense is, some of their key players are out. They're banged up. They might not play, or they're not at 100%. I mean, when you get to this level, if you got key players that are not there or can't perform at 100%, you got to give the other team the edge. And so I look at Norway and I say, why not? They score, they strike, they got a great offense, and England's got some missing players. So I'm going to bet Norway. I'm going to pick Norway. I'm going to take the plus 160 on that.
Strong bet. It's a strong bet.
And
I'm going to go with England here. I think maybe it's because of the whole Falklands song controversy after the Argentina win. I want to see Argentina and England play each other.
God, sick bastard.
I know.
Let's take us back to the 80s.
But yeah, I'll go with England. And England hasn't won a World Cup since the 60s, right? Isn't that correct? So
yeah, they're not going to win it, but they'll get close. They're getting better. They're a good squad. They're a deep squad. They got good defense. But by and large, Norway's dangerous, right? They're just dangerous in these situations. One game can mean everything. But is it sustainable throughout an entire tournament when you got the likes of Spain and France and Argentina still staring at you? Probably not. But England winning here for England would be massive, and for nothing else, to be able to say the Falkland Islands very quickly is always fun for the kids.
Falkland Islands. I mean, that is fun. I just like Norway in this game, so I'm going to take the $1.60. Let's get to the Argentina-Switzerland game now. Argentina is minus 310, so you got to lay 3-1 in order to win this bet. Over 3-1, Switzerland plus 240, so it's a 70-cent line, which pisses me off. See, this is the thing that DraftKings and these sports books does. I mean, there really shouldn't be. I don't want to get into the gambling aspect, but there shouldn't be a 70-cent line. I mean, this is just outrageous, right? What that means is if you bet Argentina and you want to bet $100, you got to put up, to win 100, you got to put up 310, right? To win 100. If you bet the Swiss, you bet 100, but you're only going to get back 240. So it's called the 70-cent line. That's outrageous. You go to the Norway game, it's only a 40-cent line, which is egregious enough. But you go to a 70-cent line, the advantage here with the bookmakers is incredible because they got this huge spread.
Right.
I mean, they can't lose with that big of a spread. And that's if I ran a sports book, the first thing I would do was offer key players a dime line. A dime line means it's a 10-cent line, which means if you're plus 160, you're going to lay 170. But when you got a 70-cent spread, that you can't win. And this is what we've allowed to happen because people are betting them. They're not beefing about it, and all the money is going on props or whatever, and it's an outrageous. The whole thing is outrageous.
Well, this is why your show's important, John. Not just because it's entertaining and we get to talk about sports betting, but people learn how to do this. And right now, the sports books are taking advantage of all the uninformed gamblers out there who don't know what they're talking about, who just want to throw money on the game. My suggestion is call a friend and put $50 straight up and have fun with it. and celebrate it and have a beer together. That's just I think a better, more socially entertaining form of gambling. There's nothing worse than writing your best friend a check. It's like giving them a $5 after you lost the ninth hole. That's just so painful. It's not losing the hole; it's just handing money over your best friend, that kind of thing. So they're taking advantage of dumb people, and that's their right. It should probably be better regulated. But if you're going to bet a lot of money, bet on the American stock markets. It's a better return.
It's just
you're going to lose. I mean, over time you're going to lose, and if you're fine with losing, this is why you don't bet on the NFL. It's psychotic. I mean,
if you this is let me just explain this. If you go on any of the sports books right now and you want to bet soccer, the first thing they have is to advance. To advance means whatever happens, shootout, whatever, you get to the next round. Okay? And there you got a 70-cent line. If you go to the money line, this to me is out. This to me, these things should be shut down or don't bet them. You go to the straight money line, okay, on the Argentina game, right? You've got a difference. Then it goes to $1.30. Like, you can't win.
Right.
So you're better off just betting the advance. That's a 7.
This is where
70-cent line looks like a bargain.
State regulators should be able to shut down these lines in real time. Like, you can't do that to our people.
Right.
You just can't steal from our people. Right. And this is where the whole industry has to be matured, and the regulations have to be in place, and they got to be in real time. And they can be with AI. They can be
in real time. And see, you can't do this in football.
Yeah.
You can't do this in football. So if you're betting a football game and you got Pittsburgh, you got Pittsburgh's 3 over, whomever, Cleveland. Right, that's going to be a dime. That's going to be a dime line,
right?
Which means you bet the Steelers, you're going to lay 110 to 100,
right?
You bet Cleveland, you're going to lay 110 to 100. So that's the vigorish. That's called the dime line. That's reasonable,
right?
But when you start getting into 70 cents, you're just ripping off the public. It shouldn't be allowed, and either we're going to regulate this stuff or not. I remember back in the day when I bet baseball with bookmakers, right? Over the phone, driving around 285 in Atlanta. Right. This is kind of the way they did it back then.
Right.
It's illegal, but that was it. That's all you had.
Right.
And so if you bet, like, there'd be several bookmakers competing for your business.
Oh, yeah.
And at the beginning of the season, I'd say, okay, I'm going to guarantee I'm going to bet this much money, and I want a 5-cent line. And I would get a 5-cent line, which means, if I take 120, I lay 125. That gives you a chance to win. I mean, you start getting in the 50 and 70 cent vigorishes, the bettor can't win. You might as well just take the money out of your wallet and hand it over to the casino.
That's what they're doing, and they can do that with the technology that they have. And people just want to bet. This is the Pandora's box we've opened up, gentlemen. And I think one of the reasons why Godzilla wins is not only entertaining, but it's also informative for your viewers out there, your listeners out there, to know what, you can enjoy the game. You can put a little money on the line. If you have a problem, call the gambling hotlines. It's really important. It is an addiction. It is nefarious. It will harm you. It will suck your money up. It will damage families. But we've opened Pandora's box because, let's be honest, states are making money at this and they got to pay their bills. That's the only reason this is happening. But there's a way to protect people from being dumb in their betting. It'd be like placing a bet on Spirit Airlines in January. What are you doing?
Well, Mr. T in Rocky
that brings
3.
us in when we have at the 10 o'clock hour when we have Frank on. That brings us into the what is it called? Kashi or Koshi or what is that? The predictive
Koshi. It's betting.
I don't really. I obviously, for many reasons, I can't get involved in that. You guys would understand that. I'm a White House correspondent. I've got people I would never get involved in that. But I mean, it's real. A lot of people bet it, and so we're going to be talking about that. But this is just one of those things. Okay, guys, pick Argentina, Switzerland quickly. Chris,
Argentina.
Vince,
On paper, you definitely say Argentina, but if you're looking for betting, I like Switzerland in the result after 90 minutes. Throw a little bit of money on it. You're going to get a plus 450 in that one. So I think it's worth the risk to throw down whatever you can afford. Enjoy good soccer, and who knows? Maybe it ends up being a 0-0 tie, and it goes to extra time. Who knows? That Switzerland's kind of got a history in this tournament, kind of just hanging around, and their goal is to probably get to a penalty shootout at the end.
Hey, that's great strategic thinking. And Coach, I think you're right on with the betting aspect of this. I take Argentina to win, right, because they're a better squad. But Switzerland has a great defense, and Argentina, I think, has been underperforming this tournament. So that's a great bet.
All right, Dan.
2 words: Argentina. So.
I mean, I'm not going to lay 3-1. I mean, I'm not going to bet the game. I'm just going to lay. Well, you bet $100 to win what, 28 cents or something? No, I'm not going to do that.
Switzerland said they wanted to stay out of it, so no, I'm kidding.
That's good, Dan. All right,
well done, sir.
Thank you.
You pulled that one out of the fire.
That was your contribution to the entire show. To the college soccer segment, one contribution. That was it. All right, quick word.
Ultimate Frisbee guy shows up once a year.
All of a sudden, guys, we got all these.
Please, no applause.
As soon as they heard Saxman was coming back, everybody called me up to buy ads. Unbelievable. So, Saxman, thank you. Your check's in the mail. We will get to baseball. It's good to have you as a friend, Chris. We will get to baseball, and don't forget, Saxman, to tell me what Steelers tickets you want before they're all gone. We'll get to baseball in a minute. Quick word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
In 2008, the amount of concentrated time people could spend on a task without becoming distracted was 12 seconds. 5 years later, it was only 8 seconds, 1 second less than a goldfish. If you're often distracted or have trouble recalling information, you're likely to fall behind in the demanding, fast-paced 21st century. In other words, brain performance is more critical now than ever. Boost your brain power with Healthy Cell's Focus Plus Recall. Science-backed nootropics to help you sharpen focus, concentrate longer, enhance recall, improve mental speed, learn rapidly, and be more alert. It's a pill-free brain supplement made with maximum absorption ingestible gel technology, designed to feed your brain at the cellular level. Take it for a test drive. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of Focus Plus Recall. That's healthycell.com, code GODZILLA for 20% off.
And they're off. This summer, the Thunder returns to Colonial Downs Racetrack. Live thoroughbred racing June 25th through September 7th. Feel the excitement. Hear the roar of the crowd. Experience Virginia's premier horse racing destination every Thursday through Sunday all summer long. Bring the whole family for Family Fun Sundays, packed with activities for all ages. Parking? Free. General admission? Free. Memories? Priceless. Make Colonial Downs Racetrack your new summer fun time tradition. Get tickets and race day info now at colonialdowns.com.
Godzilla Wins, where you get the best insight and best information on how to win the most money ever.
Guess what? GodzillaWins.com. Let's talk more winners.
You heard the man. The all-new GodzillaWins.com is all about winners, with fresh daily picks by J-Fred and your favorite players from the Godzilla Wins team. Get your hot takes from the show, then click the website for the dough. GodzillaWins.com.
GodzillaWins.com. Let's talk more winners.
Let's get back to the show that's all about winning dough. Godzilla Wins. Let's talk more winners.
I love that mantra, guys. I actually came up with it. Al, great ads, Al. Great job. Absolutely fantastic. I love the Godzilla Wins ad. Dan, get that ad from Al and put that in our morning show, okay?
Okay.
That is a great ad. In fact, those video ads he's got should be in as well. Those are just great ads. So great job, Al. Okay, let's get to MLB. Let's get to Major League Baseball. I was 1-1 last night. I bet Tampa, won that bet, but then took it on the chin. Every time I bet the Twins, they lose. Ever have a team that every season I go through this? There's one team I can't win a bet on. I bet against them, they win. I bet on them, they lose. That's the Twins. I'm 0 for 50 on Minnesota. I'm swearing them off. I'm not betting them again. They got beat last night by the hapless Angels that lost 8 out of 9. His team is reeling. and they go into Minnesota, win that game. But I did bet Tampa, so that was good. So I'm kind of even, all good. But I tell you what, guys, unbelievable. JJ just got from West Virginia, Weatherholt, just got 8-year contract, $12.1 million. He's now got and of course we know him. I mean, Joe played ball with him for 1 year, and I know his family. We hang together, we traveled together for when Joe was there in the first year before Weatherholt graduated. But it was unbelievable, and JJ was great to Joe. Took him under his wing. In fact, told Maisie that the only left-hander in his history he couldn't hit was Joe. He couldn't hit him. So that was kind of the running joke on the team. But he signs for $12 million. I just saw his dad a couple weeks ago at the hotel wherever we were, Omaha or something. So I just saw his dad. $12.1 million, generational wealth. Somebody comment. Unbelievable.
12 a year, right?
Yeah, it's an unbelievable amount of money for a young man. He's like 24 years old.
Great.
So the Cardinals signed him, and the whole family. I mean, you think about that kind of money for that long, it's pretty amazing.
Going to a good organization.
Yeah, the Cardinals
organization, great
so
organization.
Good for him.
I'd like to hear coaches' thoughts on kids signing, Connor Griffin signing a long-term deal, JJ Weatherholt signing a long-term deal. What's that like in the?
I think you look at it from the team standpoint, where we see this every year, where teams they have their prized minor league prospect, and they'll delay bringing him up maybe for a couple of years or wait a month or two because of a contract, and that does not sit well with that player and his agent usually. So kudos to the Cardinals for ponying up, giving Weatherholt the money that is still, I mean, the way he's playing, they're getting a deal. They're getting a deal here long term as long as he stays healthy. And then when it comes time to renegotiate that contract, I think Weatherholt will say, hey, the Cardinals were good to me. I'll be good to them and maybe sign for market value as opposed to overinflated numbers.
Well, you can do a lot with $12 million a year. I mean, from a financial management perspective, being able to have that money grow, even if you don't play or you're injured, and have it grow in the stock market or investments. I mean, the leverage there for the kid and the family is extraordinary.
They're great. If you know the family like we do, they're just great people. Right. All of them. I mean, I became very good friends with his dad because, when we go to the away games, so, not all the parents do that. Those that do, you get to know them. You stay at the same hotel. You're at team hotel. You go to dinner with them. You're at the bar. So just a wonderful family, wonderful people, and JJ is a fine young man. I mean, you just couldn't ask for a better kid. And like I said, as a parent's perspective, Joe got there as a freshman. JJ took to him immediately and kind of was very protective of him and helped him know the ropes, all that good stuff. Let's get to baseball. This is unbelievable, folks. You got to love what they've done with this wild card. I'm a big believer in it. Was not at the beginning. Let's take the American League right now, okay? Out of all the teams in the American League, you can really only count out from the wild card, basically Kansas City and the Angels. They're both 9 games out. Everybody else, get this, right? Ready? The Minnesota's tied. Seattle's tied. Minnesota, 1 game back. Astros, 1.5 games. Toronto, 1.5 games. The Red Sox, as pathetic as they've been, 1.5 games out. Tigers, as horrible as they've been, 2.5 out. The Orioles, horrible season, 3 games out. And then you go to the A's, 5.5. That's in the American League. Basically, there's 2.5 teams that are going to be sellers. Then you go to the NL, and not quite the same, but, Miami tied, Philadelphia tied, Chicago there, Cardinals 2 games out. They were supposed to be in a rebuild. Washington only 4 games out. Pittsburgh only 4.5. Diamondbacks 4.5. Then you get to San Diego, and it goes down from there. But who's going to be the sellers? You got the draft on Saturday, but who are going to be the sellers when everybody's in it?
Well, that's the great thing about the way they have this set up, isn't it?
I think so.
I mean, the Pirates and the White Sox made a trade to fill in the hole for Connor Griffin at short, but the teams that I'm looking at in the NL, I'm going to be a homer here, but I'm also going to look at the Nationals, and I never root for a Washington team. Their offenses are ridiculous.
Oh my God!
But they have got to get some pitching in Washington and Pittsburgh. If they do, they are going to rock it up. But to your point, John, who's going to give them the pitching? Who's going to throw it out there to them?
Nobody's got anybody that's in it. Like, talk about my team, the Astros. We've given up 30 runs in 4 games. Okay, guys, you can't win. I mean, you need. I mean, all our pitchers are. Nobody's doing any good. But I went to the Nationals game on Monday, and it was like there weren't that many people at stands because it was threatening rain. So we got seats right behind the Astros dugout. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, they're 1-9. These guys are a menace to an opposing team. I mean, they're scoring 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 runs a game. Beat the Astros in that game 12-11. I mean, guys on base, they're hitting doubles. You can't get them out. They walk a lot. They don't swing at stuff in the dirt. This is one of the best offenses I've seen.
Well, I think the play, and Coach, correct me if I'm wrong here, if you can't make a trade for the bullpen, you've got to be pulling your kids up from double and even triple and even double A. Look at the kid last year for Toronto, who came in and made a great run there. He was playing in Charlottesville in the Valley League just a couple of years ago, and here's the guy who's like a standout in the World Series. So they're gonna get hot. They're gonna find some kids with some really live action that can come in and they're gonna try them out. You got to pull them up and say, can this kid make a difference in the later innings? Because that's what's killing the Pirates right now. The Nationals the same way. Their bullpens are killing them. And I don't know where they get the arm talent, Coach, to get and make those playoff runs, because it's a log jam for the wild card. But you get a team like Philadelphia, they're a problem in the playoffs.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, that's the good part about it. You have more teams that are playoff, in the playoff hunt, and then you've got just a select few that probably should be sellers. But the problem is, do they have really that much to sell? I look at the Giants, for example. I mean, in any year you think, well, they got to be sellers, but who's going to take Matt Chapman's contract? Who's going to take Rafael Devers' contract? Really, the only people I see, like for Giants, God, it pains me to say this, but do they try to move Logan Webb?
Well, I think they keep the pitching talent and move some of the bad contracts along with some great pitching. Like, we're going to have to give up some bullpen.
How do you move those bad contracts?
But that's the bait, right? Like, you want our best bullpen guy? You want the guy for the Mets? Weaver, I think's his name. You got to take some of these contracts along with him.
Right.
They're gonna dump some trash as well.
Yeah,
no doubt. No doubt. All right, we've only got a minute. We got to get to our picks for today. So I'm going to give you guys a break. Right now, I like one game on the card, and that's the Orioles with Kyle Bradish. They're playing better. You just can't bet Kansas City. I mean, when they go on the road, it's an absolute nightmare on wheels. They don't win on the road. I expected this game to be Baltimore minus 190. It's only minus 156. Bradish has had a couple of good games the last couple of starts, and pitching for Kansas City, Cameron. He's a left-hander. Orioles smash left-handed pitching, so I like the Orioles here minus 156. That's my one bet of the day, MLB. Coach?
I'll give you my one of the day too. I really like this. He's putting together really a great season. It's Christopher Sanchez, left-handed pitcher for the Phillies. God. They're on the road at Detroit. Boy, you got to like that matchup, right? Sanchez on the road at Detroit. Take the Phillies today.
Saxman.
Well, I was just watching the Pirates. They have a doubleheader. They got rained out last night, and they had Bubba Chandler lined up in the second game against the Brewers in Pittsburgh. And I was going to bet the mortgage that the Brewers would take the second game of that one. I've had a pretty good month. No, but since Bubba Chandler's not pitching, they have Braxton Ashcraft pitching there, and he's going to be lining up to be in the All-Star game. Look for Ashcraft and the Pirates in the second game. I haven't looked at the first game now because I was going to take Chandler just while we've been on the air. So, folks, you got to pay attention to some of these changes that are occurring. Especially with the doubleheader coming back.
Saxman, I love that bet. I saw Ashcraft the other day. The last two games he's pitched. I mean, this guy's been lights out.
So good.
I love that bet. Pittsburgh with Ashcraft game too. I love that bet. Dan?
Coach stole my thunder. I was going to say the Phillies over Detroit. Yeah, I think that's a good one to bet.
So good. So
It's all
Sanchez,
good.
so good.
Okay, guys, we're going to go to a quick break. We're at top of the hour. When we get back, we have a special guest for you that we're looking forward to. Frank Zaccanelli is going to be with us. And Frank has experience in the NBA. He was head of the Dallas Mavericks, and he's also written some NBA-heavy content in his career. And now he's involved in a new venture trying to make that big and prosperous. When we get back, Frank Zaccanelli with the Godzilla Wins panel. Keep it right here.
Right now, download the new WV Sports Nation app from the Apple Store or Google Play and get the entire Mountaineer sports world in the palm of your hand. Right now, get notified when new stories drop about your favorite Mountaineers teams and athletes. Download the WV Sports Nation app right now. Get updates on next level Mountaineers like Weatherholt and Joe Mazzulla. All that and more right in your pocket right now. Download the new WV Sports Nation app from the Apple Store or Google Play. Download the app right now.
The best part about waking up in the morning is a great cup of coffee, and I get this every day with my 1775 coffee. It's rich, it's bold, best tasting coffee I've ever had. Single origin, farmed in Bolivia, 7,000 feet. It's always fresh, roasted daily. This is the best coffee you're ever going to get. Go to 1775coffee.com, 1775coffee.com. Promo code Godzilla, 10% off. It's going to make your day every day.
You woke up with a sore throat and a low-grade fever. You know you are getting sick, so here's your choices. You can get sicker and miss work. Try to see a doctor this week or sit hours in a crowded waiting room at urgent care.
I have a smarter option for you. Open your medical emergency kit. Match your symptoms to doctor-recommended prescription in your booklet and take the right meds now and get well faster.
This is not a first aid kit. It's like having an urgent care in your home. It includes doctor-prescribed medications to treat over 39 medical issues like respiratory infections, strep throat, pneumonia, UTIs, and more.
No waiting to see the doctor and no standing in line at the pharmacy. It's right here.
Every home should have at least one medical emergency kit, and here's how to order.
Order online fast and save $45. Your kit with prescriptions to treat common and life-saving illnesses is rushed to your door. Visit twc.health/Godzilla. Promo code Godzilla. That's twc.health/Godzilla. Promo code Godzilla.
John Frederick.
It is the most egregious thing I've seen in a lifetime.
President Trump.
The whole thing is ridiculous.
When politics start getting wild,
They want to have every single thing that you don't want. Raise taxes, men and women's sports. They're going to open up their border.
Trump hits the speed dial.
Thank you for calling in on such short notice.
You came first, John.
Wake up with the John Frederick Show weekday morning, 6 Eastern, 5 Central on JFMN.TV, the massive J-Fred radio network, and all across the social.
You came first, John. Thank you very much, and you do a great job.
John Fredericks, he's America's Godzilla of truth. All week long, he's world-renowned for his proficient proclivity to prophesy the people's political picks with pinpoint precision.
Yeah, baby.
Then, on the weekends, he gets with the guys that are pretty wise, and Godzilla wins. Godzilla Wins, the sports picking show for winning dough. Money lines, parlays, over-under, the best plays. You choose the game, Godzilla picks the winners. Get expert analysis, exclusive insights, and have a little fun. When the game is on your mind and money's on the line, Godzilla Wins is your guide to picking winners. Godzilla Wins, on the screens of your TV and favorite devices, commanding radio airwaves far and wide. Before you make that play, hear what the Godzilla crew has to say. Presented by WestVirginiaSportsNation.com, it's time for Godzilla Wins, all across the John Fredericks Media Network. Oh, yeah.
For entertainment purposes only.
All right, it's great to have you back. I'm John Frederick, sitting in for Mitch Rogers, your host. Our panel, wrecking and rolling. We got Chris Saxman. We got Dan Hobgood, my morning producer. These are both Steelers fans. Let's see, we went the entire show and only mentioned the Steelers one time. This is a record. Thank you, Dan, for only doing it once. We appreciate it. The old ball coach is with us, former coach Taft. Community College in Bakersfield, now retired. Vince Mayako is with us, and our special guest, Frank Zaccanelli. Frank, thank you for joining us. Appreciate your being with us today, Frank.
Well, John, thanks for having me. Are you meeting with Trump right after this meeting?
No,
Right
I
after the
think
show here?
I think that'll be on Wednesday. But yeah, there's only so much politics that we can take in a week. That's why we do Godzilla Wins.
Well, he
And
doesn't have anything to do. Don't worry about it. He's probably just in there filing his nails.
I have never you can't sleep. I've never seen. I mean, I covered Trump 1, Frank, and it was kind of like this, but not like this. I mean, it's 7 days a week. It's constant. You can't sleep. You can't eat. You can't do anything. I mean, the guy is just doing so many things in a week. And in my line of work as a White House correspondent, so you get this feed constantly, and either he's sending out a True Social, or he's having a press conference, or he's doing a gaggle, and there's breaking news like every 20 minutes. So it's been quite the ride. I got another.
Well, I worked with the Perot family for a lot of years, and we ran for president in 1992 in a pretty serious run, and then again in '96, which was not as serious.
Who was that, Frank? I missed.
Ross Perot.
Oh, Ross Perot, right.
Yeah, so I worked with the Perot family for about 20 years. And, that's how we got into the basketball business, is that we bought the Mavericks in 1996. But in 92, we were serious contenders. And so, that was quite a run for us, really watching that whole process go down. And Ross was leading in the polls, in April. And boy, oh boy, did it come at us. It was something. You couldn't do any business, that's for sure. So,
well, he dropped out of the race and then got back in. I think it was he had Jordan. You had Ham Jordan and Jody Powell running a campaign. He wanted him to spend $30 million doing a convention for his new party, and Perot wouldn't do it. I happen to be covering that. He wouldn't do it, and he dropped out. And had he done that, he might have won a bunch of states, but getting out and then
we couldn't win because of the way that the deck was stacked. But he ended up with 20 million votes after getting out and getting back in. He won the debates, but it was an interesting time in politics for me. I saw a lot of things that really had a major impact on me. How about that?
Frank, correct me if I'm wrong, but my recollection is that Perot was leading in the polls when he dropped out.
Yeah.
No, he wasn't leading when he dropped out, but we were leading in the polls in April. I think he got out in June.
Okay.
And I was with him the day he got out. It was a whole thing I can't get into, but
okay.
And then what happened is that he knew the debates were coming up. People were pushing him, and what ended up happening is he got back into the debates. And he did so well in the debates that he ended up,
one of them was a mile from my house.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I live right by the University of Richmond.
Oh yeah, we were there.
I was in the Robin Center right before it took place.
That's right.
My mom was a longtime professor at the University of Richmond. She had some access and let me see it.
Yeah, that's it. And then through the real estate business, I've had the opportunity years ago, to talk to Trump a few times. He called us on a few things, and I would say that Ross Perot Sr. and Donald Trump are oil and water. So that would not have been a marriage made in heaven. But, his sons are okay guys. So it was good.
Let's talk about, Frank, and thank you for joining us. We got Chris Saxman, Coach Vince Mayako, Dan Hobgood, who's my producer in the show in the morning. I want to give us a little feel. You ran the Mavericks for a while. Just give us a feel before we get into your new venture, kind of the state of the NBA, why you got out, what's going on with the Mavericks. Give us the whole state of the industry.
Yeah. Well, Cuban has made, major headlines here the last few days. He's suing now the people that he sold the team to, the Las Vegas Sands Corporation. Marion Adelson is probably worth about $52 billion.
Right.
They make most of their money actually in Macau, but they own a lot of casinos. And her son-in-law, Patrick Dumont, is really running everything for her and the family. Cuban sold, I think, 70% to them. He kept, I think, 27% of it. And he thought that he was going to run the basketball operations, but it wasn't in the document. Patrick Dumont said, we never had that discussion. Cuban then said, well, we had a handshake. And then I got quoted, I get calls on this all the time, that, if you did a $3.8 billion deal selling an NBA franchise and you're supposed to run the franchise and you don't get it in the document, good luck. Good luck saying that you had a handshake deal. So he's probably not very happy with me. He and I don't get along, very well anyway. So it doesn't really matter because, I didn't want to sell the team. We sold the team in 2000. We left a lot of money on the table, but we were just getting good. We had Dirk, Steve, and Michael Finley under contract. We had $35 million payroll. We had a bunch of money. And Don Nelson, had orchestrated with his son, Donnie Nelson, everything. So we were in really, really good shape. And I didn't want to sell, but, Ross was the majority owner, and he made a decision to sell. We made a bunch of money, but if we would have kept it, we would have had a good run and would have made a lot more money.
So so Cuban, I mean, if he didn't want to sell it and he wanted to run the team, why did he sell it? Now he's beefing because he can't run the team, but he sold it.
Well, he's got I'm quoted in the papers as it's one of the worst arguments I've heard in 50 years. And, the bottom line is that it doesn't make any sense. If you're going to bring in a majority partner, but you have operational control, you have, you have multiple sections in there about that concept.
Right.
Because I've been involved with a lot of, I've been involved in a million deals. Those things are ironed out and they're written about. And, especially on something this public, this with this many eyes on it. And when he came out and made that statement, I thought it was pretty weak. So
a lot of ego in that one.
Yeah. And he's got a tremendous ego. You can't make sense of any of these numbers. Let's start right there. How is an NBA team worth $3.8 billion? How are the Lakers worth $10 billion? There's no metrics anywhere that would lead it to anything even close to those numbers. But it's the greater fool. It's the greater, fool theory. The tree's going to grow through the sky, and so far it has. Where do we go from here? But the numbers, you can't make money at the kind of numbers that these guys are doing, but they create the identity. If Mark Cuban didn't buy the Mavericks, nobody would know who the hell he was. It'd been another, billionaire running around there.
So what is the state of the NBA financially? Where does it go?
I think it's not great. Now everyone's embraced gambling. Okay. When I was the president, GM, and minority owner, I couldn't go in a sports book. Okay, this was 1996, 97, 98. I couldn't go in a sports book. Okay, I mean, we were prohibited from doing a lot of stuff. Now, every sport, everywhere is embraced gambling, right? And I'm getting in the gambling business, but it has changed dramatically. And I think that is everything to do with they're trying to keep up with this massive price growth that they've had, and they're trying to grab everything. The stuff that they did in China, I was involved in a huge article on China. I don't know if you guys remember a few years ago when the guy from Philadelphia, he was with Houston, I think, the GM.
Right.
He said some stuff about
Daryl Morey.
Yeah, and a really good guy.
Yeah,
and
Hong
he
Kong.
just, he stated the obvious on Hong Kong, right? I don't know if you guys ever been there. I've been to Hong Kong. It's the most beautiful place ever. And the British in their deal, they had an agreement that the Chinese almost immediately broke, and the people in Hong Kong hate it. And Morey just, he mentioned the obvious, and that blew up like a bomb.
Sure did.
And nobody in the NBA backed him. Nobody in the NBA backed him. So he kind of got exonerated from that. So, the NBA viewership, I don't think the games are good. I've never seen so many players be hurt in my life. You know, I have a theory on it. You want to talk about gambling on the NBA now? I mean, you literally almost got to be at the game and see the guy walk out, you know, with his uniform on and go to the mid court, you know, because I mean, there's late scratches, there's all kinds. I don't even know how the hell you play fantasy. You don't know who's in the game, who's not, who's hurt, who's playing. You know, it's unbelievable. They try to give you good information, but there's all this stuff. And I've never seen so many injuries. You guys may have a theory on that, but I mean, there's more people injured now than at any time in the NBA that I've seen.
Why do you think that is, Frank?
I think the athlete is more finely tuned, like a watch. You wind a watch as tightly as you can, you know, it may work great or it may break. And I think these athletes now are so finely tuned with their regiment. You know, I'll tell you something. LeBron James is he's either taken the human growth hormone times 5, or he's just phenomenal. You know, he's phenomenally physiologically put together like no other person I've ever seen. What's this guy going? He's going to be 42 years old. I mean, it's unbelievable the kind of shape he's in. I mean, he's unbelievable. But these, you know, the regiment in the NBA now, you got to be able to run really fast. You got to be able to jump really high. You got to be able to shoot a 3-pointer. Those are kind of the prerequisites. And when we get in, you guys sent me some stuff. You get into the draft, you know, I'll just tell you, you know, Boozer, you know, who went third in the draft, is going to have his hands full. He's not athletic at all. And I know that people liked him come out of Duke. They know his father. They know he's a good guy. You know, he's a really good kid. But, you know, he's not going to be able to go down in the low post in the NBA and do what he did in college.
What did you think of the first pick that was made, the young fellow that came out of BYU?
You know, he's a good player, but he's going into a mess. You know, they just signed Trae Young now. They gave him, what they give, $212 million?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you got AD over there who came to Dallas. I mean, what a mess that was. You know, the Luka Doncic trade probably is the worst trade in major sports history.
Why did they make that trade?
I think that it was a guy in Nico Harrison that got sideways with Luka and his people and didn't have the governance that was needed by the ownership. No one would ever approve that. To give Cuban some credit, he didn't ever approve it.
Right.
And I mean, the Mavericks ended up getting rid of a generational superstar and got no compensation.
Right.
That's hard to recover from. It's going to take them now 3 or 4 years, you know, if they're lucky. You know, they got Cooper Flagg now. They got a good young guy, but they're going to have a huge rebuild around that.
What was it that propelled the Knicks to the extent they had such a fabulous season?
Brunson. I mean, and don't forget, Brunson played for Dallas. You ready for this one?
Yeah.
They offered Brunson a 4-year deal at $55 million, and he turned them down a year before he went to free agency and went to New York. 4 years, $55 million. He's going to make $55 million a year now. Mm-hmm. And you know, Brunson was, I thought he was unstoppable, especially in the fourth quarter.
Right.
You know, and the Spurs, you know, they're a really young team. I don't think very well coached. Now, I've known Greg Popovich since I got into the league. Don Nelson and Greg Popovich are best friends.
Right.
And Pop is a great guy. He does not look good physically.
Yeah.
You know, the reports that I got is that he's not great physically. But they brought this young coach in who was understudy of Pop's, and I think he got outcoached pretty badly in the finals.
Sure did.
Yeah, I thought
Are we
he
allowed
got
to say that now? Are we allowed to say that? Barkley couldn't say that.
Well, I don't know. Barkley will say anything that he wants. Yeah, well, you know what? I'm sorry. That is a great point. That is a wonderful point. I got on Stephen A. Smith this week. for the ridiculous comments that he made about the Lakers being too white. First of all,
that's what he said. That's what he said.
Oh, no. Then he
Literally
doubled down.
said
Then he tripled down. He actually went on Fox News
Yeah.
with Will Cain
Mm-hmm.
and did it and tripled down. But here's the thing. Let me tell you about this one. Walter Kessler. Do you guys know who he is? Walker Kessler?
Yeah, well,
he's just this big white guy. Okay. Yeah. He's going to be the 8th best player on that team by the end of this year. And Smith made it sound like it was going to be the 3 white guys, and you can't win with 3 major white guys. And he came out and he made it a really racial argument.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought it was ridiculous, And I did a little something on it, and I thought it was ridiculous. I thought it was, and he has to have a little bit more. He has to have a little bit more control because he's at the top of the heap in sports. This guy makes $40-50 million a year. He's got a huge show, got a huge radio show.
He's the biggest at ESPN, yeah.
Yeah, he makes a lot of money. I think he's got a lot of responsibility. Mm-hmm. And I think he shirked that because now all the race baiters, dove on it. Mm-hmm. And the last thing that we need, John can tell you, he's going to live in the White House here pretty soon. We don't need any more racial divide in this country. That's for sure.
Right. Mm-hmm. So why did he do that? Like, what was the objective? Just to get clickbait?
Well, why would he need that, John? I mean, this guy.
That's what I'm saying. What did that's what excites me. Like, why did he need to do that?
First and foremost, he was wrong.
Well, he's wrong.
Some of the best players in the world.
Kessler's not the 3rd player. He's going to be the 8th guy after. He's going to be in an 8-man rotation. He's number 8.
Right.
They're going to sign Kuminga. They're going to sign. They signed Looney. They're going to sign other guys. They signed Sexton. They signed Grimes. So they got a bunch of black guys coming in.
But why say it? I mean, you have some of the best players in the world coming out of Europe who are fundamentally more sound, who are tougher in the paint, who can shoot. I mean, we're talking about Doncic, Jokic. There's so many great players. Why would you make it racial when it's just fundamental basketball? And if a white guy had done that, dear God in heaven above, they would have canceled him. They'd have run him out of town.
That's right. There's the double standard.
Right.
100%. Yep.
Yeah, there's the double standard. But, I just felt like he had more of a responsibility as a top guy not to do that. And let me tell you, Steven knows his basketball. He was on scholarship down at Winston-Salem State, played for big house games.
Mm-hmm.
He was in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
There's a lot of history there. So he's not a dumb guy by any stretch, and he's a very good author. He's a good writer. When a guy's a really good writer, he's smart. So I don't know. It was a mess.
Well, what he said was, obviously inflammatory, but it's one of those comments that you're making with your friends that comes out of your mouth in public that you probably would regret later. Like it could be a joke amongst the guys if you're playing golf or at the bar having a beer or whatever, and it comes out, and you're like, oops. But no one said you shouldn't have said that to Stephen A. Smith. It was like, well, what are we going to do? He's black. We can't say he was wrong. He's talking about the NBA. I mean, wait a second. He was an obviously racially motivated comment that was factually inaccurate. First
I killed him.
You can.
I'll have them send you guys.
But to say that,
I'll have them send you guys a clip. I killed him. And I was even handed. I just said you have more responsibility than this. It's not responsible for you to say these things because then all of the pack now dives on this, and then all it really does is create this gigantic divide that's already the Grand Canyon, right, and racial issues in our country. So.
Right. And you were talking about, Frank, financially how the NBA you think is in. I don't want to put words in your mouth. It sounds like more of a precarious position than otherwise people would suggest. Does that lend itself to taking further eyes off the ratings and going, look, if they're going to make this racial, I'll go watch soccer, on the weekends. I'll go watch more professional football or college football versus my NBA viewing time. I mean, if you go there, you're going to lose audience.
Well, the bigger issue also is that the star players are out a lot of the season. I mean, there's so many injuries. Just you guys really track it this year. There's so many injuries that it's like I'm sure the season ticket holders, are really upset with it. And again, John asked me, what do I think about it? I mean, I've just come up with some bullshit theory. I don't know that that's the right theory, but the fact of the matter is that, there's something not right. And as it relates to what you guys are doing and what I'm getting ready to do, gambling has become a huge piece of not only the NBA, the NFL, Major League Baseball, NHL hockey, FIFA, everything. So,
well, if it's load management by another name, okay, these guys do take a tremendous beating throughout the year. But to Byron Scott's point, I think he made a couple months ago, the NBA is just becoming far softer than it was in previous decades.
Absolutely.
And with the kids coming over, the athletes coming over from Europe that are fundamentally more sound, you're getting a cultural change and a shift here. It's like, look, if I'm not going to be in top physical condition to play these games, and I don't want to injure myself further, if I'm coming into a contract renewal and I'm injured, is that going to hurt me in my contract renewal? So I'm sure there's a lot of financial decisions that are going on. I was like, look, I can take a couple of games off here, and we'll still be good for playoffs.
Well, I'll comment on what you just said. The 5 best players in the NBA, and this is undeniable, were not born in the United States. The 5 top players in the NBA were not born here. So that, I think, tells you a little bit about, how much international influence now the game has, which is great. That's phenomenal. But, I mean, you just look at some of these guys, they're playing 20, 30, 40 games a year, and they're getting paid all this money. And I don't think people are very happy with it.
Frank, are they the best because of physical advantages, or are they just better? They've learned the game better than folks here.
I think it's a combo platter, but I wouldn't say that the Joker is very physically fit. He just is the best player because he really knows the game. He's got the best hands ever. He can shoot it. He's a phenomenal passer. And Luka's not going to go 200 miles an hour by you. He runs the game at his own pace. So I think it's a combo platter of, they really have learned how to play the game. See, a lot of our young college kids, they don't really learn how to play the game. That's the biggest problem for an NBA GM is that, you got to grab this kid who's a freshman and you got to take him, because if you don't take him, then you're going to get murdered if he turns out to be really good. And, the other side of it is that now you got to deal with it.
Bingo, Frank.
Hey,
Bingo.
Frank.
No, go ahead,
Frank,
Vince.
can I jump in here? Hey, and we're talking about the European influence. We were talking about soccer this last hour. Do you think them playing soccer in Europe has its advantages translating when they get too big to play soccer? They transfer into a basketball player, and that footwork they accumulated as a young child playing soccer benefits their NBA career.
No question about it. That's 100%er. There's no question about it. Because they grow up, they get a ball on their foot when they're 5 years old.
Right.
And so, there's no question about that, Coach. That's the way it works. And the interesting thing about it is that these guys who come in here, they're really happy to be here. They wanna play against the best. They want to do that. So, it's a good mix. But, when the 5 best players weren't born here, the biggest problem we have in USA Soccer, by the way, is the feeder system. They don't need to fire the coach. The coach did, I think, you can only play the hand that you're dealt. The guy's from Argentina. He knows his stuff. But you look at the Belgium game, right? Yeah, I know you guys follow everything. I love soccer, by the way. The game was over in the first 12 minutes. Belgium could have had, 4 or 5 goals in the first half. We couldn't even get the ball out of our zone. And you could see that they were pressing, and we just didn't have the talent. And they've got world-class players. They played a great game against Spain yesterday. That was one hell of a game. I think it was won in, the 88th minute. So it was a great game. So, I think it's the feeder system. And I think the feeder system, in the basketball world, is kind of what it is. It's all AAU now. It's predominantly African American, and it's not the way it was. I played in high school and college, and I was a pretty good player, but everything that we did was in the parks, and then in the grade schools, and then the middle schools, and then the high schools. Today it's if you're a really good player, you're an AAU player. What you do in high school doesn't really matter.
In Europe, with their basketball, they run their basketball just like they do their soccer programs, right?
That's
Where they
right.
have, FC Barcelona has a basketball team, and they run all their youth programs under the umbrella of FC Barcelona or Real Madrid or whatever the team might be, and that really allows. Once again, we talked about. When we talk about soccer, it's a money game with kids in the U.S. Where in Europe, where it doesn't cost, $5,000 to play on a travel team. It's all essentially free because the major team, local team, runs everything, runs their youth program, and maybe someday, if you're good enough, you can play for FC Barcelona.
That's right. And John, when you go see Trump this afternoon, tell him that he should not worry so much about a guy with a red card. He ought to fire everybody in USA Soccer and start over, because the board of directors and the president, they're the problem. It's a feeder system. It's a systemic problem. It's not a problem of the fact that the coach didn't coach the players well. We just don't have the talent. How we're going to get there, I mean, we've been talking about this for 30 years?
Yeah.
I mean, can the U.S. ever really be good in soccer, right? With all the other options that these kids have and our best athletes have. Can we ever be really good? Can we be world-class in soccer? It's a question mark.
It's a deep cultural issue, deep cultural question, because a lot of these kids, a lot of parents are going, how can I get my kid a college scholarship? Or if you're poor, and look, soccer's a street game in the rest of the world. Do parents at a young age, 5, 6, 7 years of age, go, should I put a soccer in their hands or on their feet? A ball on their hands or on their feet? And if they see a financial opportunity, if they knew the money that was involved in soccer worldwide, they'd be putting the ball on the foot when they're 3 and 4 years old, because there is so much money, especially if your kids aren't going to be over 6 foot tall.
Right.
I mean, if you're 6'5", you're a giant in soccer. Erling Haaland is 6'5". He's going to dominate the heading game. But the talent's there.
Let's hope he scores a goal today.
Well, let's see what happens.
I got the game over.
Frank?
So I hope that he scores a goal today. I'll tell you what, he had 2 goals in the last game that were great. John, I wanted to come on also and tell you that I bought 50% of this platform called Pass the Wire.
Yeah, I want to hear about that, because your handicap and part of that was in the horse racing industry, which I was a horse trainer for a long time prior to what I'm doing now. In fact, my wife and I are putting in a claim. I'm not going to tell you who or where, obviously, on the air, but we're putting in a claim at Colonial Downs on Sunday. So we're in the thoroughbred business now as well. But and so we're going, like, as soon as the show's over, I'm going to Colonial Downs, which is about.
Are you bringing Trump with you? Is he coming too?
No, he's not. He's not a racehorse fan to the extent that I do. But we're going there for the weekend. By the way, Colonial Downs, most beautiful track in America, maybe second to Saratoga. That's it, but absolutely gorgeous.
Beautiful track, one of the best in the world. A lot of people are saying this.
Everybody knows it. Okay, everybody knows.
Everybody's winning. They love the turf. They see that turf. They love the turf. I like the turf.
That's great. I love racing. That's what got me into this thing. But
so tell us the evolvement from NBA executive running the Mavericks to handicapping racehorses to buying half of Pass the Wire.
Well, here's the interesting thing. My parents, who were Italian immigrants for the most part, my grandparents came. My mother was born in Italy. They loved horse racing. Now, don't ask me why, but when I was a kid, we used to go to a place called Finger Lakes. I grew up in Syracuse, New York.
I know. Yeah, I used to race there. Know just where it is. Great.
Right. So it's about an hour drive from Syracuse.
Right.
And we'd go to Finger Lakes, and watch the horses. And they were $2 bettors. My mother would bet birthdays on doubles and stuff like that. But then occasionally, we didn't have any money, but occasionally we take the trip down to Saratoga. And that was about a 2.5-hour drive. And we go down there and we'd spend the day, and they loved it. They just loved being there. And again, they couldn't handicap anything. They didn't have any money, but it got into my blood at a pretty early age. Fast forward, for the last 30 years, Lone Star Park is in Dallas here. And I know you guys know that Lone Star Park is, it's thoroughbred track here. Actually held a Breeders' Cup one year. They had a private room that they were nice enough to let me come in. And this is about 35 years ago. And so, when I had some time, I used to go and I'd get all the sheets. And, on Saturdays, I would bet 4 or 5 tracks, during the afternoon. And, I'm a pretty good handicapper. But compared to my partner, I don't know anything. So 2 years ago or 3 years ago, when did Mange win the Derby? Was that 2023 or 24?
24.
24. Okay. So Derby week, my oldest son and my wife are born. She's May 5th and he's May 3rd. So during that Derby week, their birthdays fall. I happen to be in Las Vegas with my wife at this time, and I'm getting all my stuff together. And all of a sudden, I'm on the computer, and I run into this Pass the Wire thing. So I kind of hit it, and I see this guy that could have grew up in my neighborhood. He's got the hat, the glasses, and he's got the whole shtick. Now, John Stinton is one of the smartest guys you'll ever meet because he writes as well as anybody at the Wall Street Journal. I mean, his articles are unbelievable. He's a really talented guy. So he was really touting Mange in that Derby. And he said, this horse is coming in here. And he does a lot with Thorograph. So he's a big Thorograph guy. But he's a great handicapper, and he's connected all the way up and down the line. And his platform, Pass the Wire, was nothing more than horse racing. And so I hit the superfecta for a lot of money that day. It was my wife's birthday, so she got most of the money. But I hit the superfecta. I think it was like $15,000, $16,000 superfecta. And he had this thing cold. And so I said, wow, this is something. So I started following him. And then sooner or later, we just connected up, and he found out that I was following him and who I was. And so we set up a call about maybe 3 months ago. And I said, John, what are you doing with this? Because online gambling now, okay, and the futures gambling, Kalshi, and all these different, platforms now are becoming a gigantic business, guys. I mean, I'm not telling you guys anything you don't already know. But when I looked at the numbers, I mean, this thing's growing 10 to 15% a year. It's billions and billions. And everybody's got an app on their phone. Everybody's, doing a lot of stuff. And I think that the futures markets are going to be huge. We're just now starting to see that. And that's something I'm going to concentrate on. These future markets are going to be big. So anyways, I just said, what are you doing with this? And he said, I'd like to, get out of horse racing, exclusively and do some things in, the other sports, but I really haven't had a chance to do that. I said, well, maybe we could figure something out. So, I bought I made the deal with them on a 50-50 partnership on Nuco, which is going to be everything we're doing, about 3 weeks ago. And we've shot 3 shows so far. We have 5 shows in total. We have a news show. So just news, about what's the hot topic. That's where Stephen A. came in. We handled Caitlin Clark, which I think is another travesty. The WNBA commissioner needs to be fired today. I mean, 100%. She's a bean counter from Deloitte Touche, and she needs to go because she's not managing anything. And the league is really not. The players. I use the Tiger Wood analogy, guys. Remember when Tiger came in 1996, right? and he had won 3 U.S. amateur titles, which no one has ever done. And Nike signed him to a $40 or $50 million deal. You remember before he played his first tournament, and everybody kind of looked at that and said, "Wow, this is aggressive." Well, nobody knew Tiger was going to be Tiger, but Freddie Couples was my next door neighbor. So I was involved in the PGA. I knew everybody, Mickelson, all those guys. They were applauding and jumping up and down because they knew the outcome. Purses were going to go up. Contracts were going to go up. Everything was going to be affected. Well, you got the same scenario here with Caitlin Clark. I mean, all she's going to do, a rising tide raises all boats, right? And that's what's happening. And I don't think that the players, and there's a cultural problem there too. We're not talking about a problem of black and white now. We're talking about another issue. But, you know, she's a straight, heterosexual, white woman. And, you know, there's some other issues that are surrounding that. So, you know, we have the news show. We have a prediction show. And, you know, John and I, you know, we picked a few games yesterday. I like I said, I like the over, and I like England over 1.5 goals. And I like the game over 2.5. And Argentina, it's hard to bet Argentina on the money line. And between you and me, I get so upset with the way that soccer is set up with the 90-minute thing. You know, it's you know, there's a huge advantage to the house on that one. But I think that you know, Austria is going to play pretty hard today, and we'll see. I'm sorry, Switzerland. Excuse me. Switzerland.
Yeah, what's the difference?
Yeah, they're going to play pretty hard today, and you know, let me tell you, I mean, Argentina got out of a vice grip. You know, they were down in the 72nd minute, 2-0, and Egypt got a goal taken away from them. So it was a mess. So, anyways, and then he does his racing show. And he's the number one handicapper probably in the country. I don't think there's any doubt about it. And
so, what does Pass the Wire do, Frank?
Well,
what are you gonna do?
Well,
with it?
we have a publishing arm of it where John writes articles now crossing over into sports, but you know, he had done forever, you know, the article thing, you know, in the racing business. I mean, he's probably the number one author in horse racing, probably in the country. And he's a real smart guy. So we crossed over now, and he's asking me, tell me a subject that I need to write about it, because we're using the power of the pen a little bit to create stories for ourselves on the news side. And so it's a nice mixture. And then we're going to get into the online gambling world as a conduit for a big player. And I know most of the big players just because of background, you know, the DraftKings and the Bet360s. We're going to become a conduit feeding into that system, if you will, and really concentrating on this futures market. This futures market is going to be gigantic. I mean, it's going to be Wall Street. You know, it's going to be, people are going to be trading these futures and sports and other things. Your good friend Trump is going to get into the futures business too, it sounds like. Him and his sons have got a futures company that they're getting ready to announce. So when you have lunch with them, talk to them about that.
So when you're talking about the futures, I think we all understand the sports aspect of it, but a lot of the money now in futures is going to international events, politics, right? Things that in Vegas you can't bet on, that the futures have been able to do. And there's been a number of scandals coming out recently about people getting inside information and then placing bets and making a lot of money because they had inside info, you know, just like we're getting gambling, shaving points or the props or whatever. How do you see that getting regulated, Frank?
Well, it has to get regulated. There's going to have to be a commission that's going to take a look at it because, John, everything's going to get out of control if you don't manage it.
Right.
But I'm telling you, it's exploding right now with the 20 year old to the 45-year old
Mm-hmm.
on the phone with the apps. It's exploding. Kalshi is exploding.
Yeah.
And the concept really is nothing different than if I go out and I buy a stock and I watch the growth of the stock. You know, you're betting these future contracts, you know, that next year San Antonio is going to win the NBA championship, whatever the hell, you know, that those odds are. The closer that they get to coming off to a good year, I'll tell you another one, these under-overs on the NFL, right? You know, we covered that on yesterday's show. You know, the under-overs on the NFL are a big bet for a lot of people. They like to bet these future bets. And if a team comes out of the box and you've got the team over and they win 3 or 4 games in a row, you know, you could sell your contract to that. And so if you're on the right platform.
So just for our audience, when you're talking about over under, let's get, say, to the Titans. I'm a Titans fan, right? So let's get the Titans. I think their over under is 6.
Right.
So I bet the over, which means they're going to win 6 games or over this season, right? They win.
6 is a push. That's right. 6 is a push.
And
right.
so I bet them. And so after the first 4 games, they're 3-1. Now I'm in really good shape. Now you're saying I can actually sell that and make money, or
if you're on the right platform.
It's
traded like a you know, it's traded like an asset.
Yeah.
You know, and my son is all over this, and he's explained everything to me. I'm a dinosaur, but I'm having now to come into, you know, this different world. It's fascinating to me, actually. You know, I gave out a pick yesterday. The Arizona Cardinals are no way going to win 5 games. The number is 4.5. If they played 25 games, they can't win 5 games. So the over-under is 4.5, okay? I mean, they're up against it. Look at who they play in their division. They got to play, you know, they got to play the Seattle Seahawks twice. They got to play the Rams twice. And they got to play the 49ers twice. Good luck.
0-6.
Yeah, but it's like shorting stocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're putting your money on the open market without actually buying a position in a company. You're buying a position in an event that may or may not happen. And so your money, okay, fine. But to your gentleman's point, this is going to have to be significantly regulated because the opportunity for nefarious actors to game these systems is extraordinary.
Yeah. There's going to have to be
really
a
bad
commission
things.
set up. There's going to have to be all the right. But, you know, it's the same thing with artificial intelligence, right? I mean, AI has affected our lives now already in so many different ways, right?
Yep.
It's made things easier for me. You know, I'm on that Gronk thing with the richest man on the planet,
Elon.
And the information is unbelievable and how it comes to you and how fast it comes to you. But AI could be the destruction of humanity at some point. I mean,
it's too early on a Saturday, Frank. I can't get to.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, you may not know. I mean, whatever great thing. Now, in the medical world, I was involved heavily in life sciences and a lot of cell and gene therapy work and a lot of different things there. You know, for medical purposes, AI is incredible.
Oh, it's fantastic.
You know, it is moving things in such a good direction for cancers and other things. But, you know, the regulation has got to occur.
Sure.
But the platforms, right? When you look at these platforms, some of these platforms are being set up to become mini stock markets. And it's fascinating to me. Obviously, all of us have been in the market. If you've been in the market, you know, you've been in the market at some point in your life. Been in the market the last 5 years, you made a bunch of money. You know, but hopefully you just sat there because that's all it really took. But, you know, in this side, you know, you give a lot of forethought to it. And we're not going to be the platform. We're going to be a conduit into the platform.
When you say conduit, Frank, you're talking about, let's say, for example, you hooked up with, you decided to go with MGM or like just MGM.
Yeah.
So then the conduit means MGM is going to be your sponsor, and then you're going to feed in your picks and everything on your platform to go bet on MGM. So
Yes.
you guys are not going to be the sports book yourself.
No.
Pass the wire is just going to be the conduit, and you're going to make the deal with the company that's going to give you the best opportunity to do that.
Correct.
And then what about the futures market? Will you do the same thing there?
Yes, but the futures market will be handled a little bit differently. But the fact of the matter remains that we don't have a license to, run the house, right? And we're not looking to get a license. What we're going to do is be a conduit in, and we're going to get paid on every new person that we bring in. We're going to make sure that it's good for our viewers. He's got about 60,000 followers right now.
Right.
You guys are probably much bigger than that. You guys have been around, but he's got 60,000 followers, and they're hardcore people. We're going to grow that. I think I can get it to 200,000-300,000, people.
Right.
And when that happens, then you've really created enough nucleus, and it's a matter now of getting the right partnerships. We're also
when you say conduit, Frank, let me ask you this if I can. When you say you're going to create a conduit for these gambling sites, is that what you're saying? Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna be a feeder system.
Oh, so if they go to your site or they're on your show and they go to those sites, you're going to get a percentage of the revenue from them going forward?
No question. Yeah, that's what's going on.
Okay.
But we're going to we're going to be the marketing group, and we're going to make sure that the deals are right for our guys, right? Or women or whoever's, following us. And it's going to be into the feeder system, and you'll get paid on new accounts, and you'll get paid.
Okay.
And you'll get paid on, every time.
So you'll feed them the information on, say, in the Saratoga. Like my daughter and granddaughter were at the racetrack this morning, like at 8:00 this morning, because they live in Saratoga Springs. If you fed information to her and she goes and she bets on that, you would get a part of that.
For their conduit, not
Not
if they want to bet at the track, but if they
we get a fee.
MGM,
Yeah.
don't you have to get, Frank, when you go and you take a percentage, the rules are very different.
We're not taking a percentage though. We're taking a fee.
A fee of the bet?
The fee would be for people that are opening accounts, and I've gone through this with the lawyers at nauseum now.
Okay.
Every account will get a fee. And when somebody puts money into their account, the re-up will get a fee.
But then, but under that system, don't you have to have a license approval for that in every state, because you're getting a percentage of players going in, whether it's they sign up or whatever. Not like just a straight sponsorship where, here's $10,000 a month, bring us sex.
You're bringing them new customers, and for every customer you get X.
Right.
We're
there's
structuring it, John, a little differently, which I'm not going to get into on the air. But we're structuring around that. We're not going to break any rules. Trust me.
You don't.
We're not going to do anything that's not 100%. There's no way. I don't do that.
Right.
But we're structuring it around what is legal.
I understand.
Got it.
And I'll tell you what else you guys might be interested in. I've wanted to syndicate yearlings out of the Keeneland sale forever. And so we're going to do that for the September sale at Keeneland. We're going to buy 5 yearlings. I'm raising $3 million in a syndication, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And Bafford and Mott have agreed to talk to us about training the horses. And the interesting thing about it is, we're not going to be buying claimers. We're going to be buying yearlings, probably $200,000 to $300,000 yearlings. We're not going to spend $500,000 or $100,000 or $1 million. We're going to get good horses.
Mm-hmm.
And the interesting thing in the big, beautiful bill, anybody that's got a tax deal, it's unbelievable. You write off 110% year one on these horse purchases.
So you're basically selling shares in these horses.
Yeah, we'd be selling shares in the syndication.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
and of course, John will tell you there's rules on that you got to follow.
So Frank, just in a few minutes we have left, your value that you're presenting to the public, that you're getting to people to go on the gambling sites, is the information on the events. Is that how
is
you?
This in the syndication now? Is this in the syndication?
No, he's talking about just the straight, like the deal with MGM.
Yeah, no, we would be gaining viewership like you guys do.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'd be providing to our viewership in a very legal manner,
right, an
a relationship with our platform in a way that's good for them and good for us.
And you do that by creating more value with the better information that you provide them.
Well, I think that brings people in. Like
right.
That's how you get such a big.
I get it. I'm just trying to follow it.
You guys have such a big following. I know that, and because you guys are giving good information.
Well, I do. I don't know about John, but yeah.
Yeah, but people want information.
Right.
They want. So we're doing that again. He's the best horse handicapper in the country.
Right.
There's not even a question in my mind. And I've been around racing my whole life. Nobody's as good as him.
Right.
And, if you hit 35% of your bets, you're going to do great. So it's one of those things. It's like baseball. If you hit 350, that means that you either struck out or hit a ground ball to somebody, 2/3 of the time. Right.
Right.
But that's how it works. It's almost like the venture capital business, which I have a lot of history in, and that's the syndication piece. Is that you hope 2 of the 5 horses are good horses, and if you get one stakes horse,
you're golden.
Yeah, and
you're
so
golden.
but the tax benefits in the big beautiful bill, I can't begin to tell you how important they are.
Yeah,
you get to write off 110% of your investment in year 1.
Well, you can thank Congressman from Kentucky, Andy Barr, now running for senator for that.
All right, good. Is he a friend of yours?
Yeah, he's the one that worked very hard with us behind the scenes, those in the horse racing business, to get that done. Obviously, he represents Kentucky. His area represents Churchill Downs. But and the problem in the horse business, because I'm in the overnight, I'm not in the stakes business. I'm in the overnight business. And the problem is the birth rate of thoroughbreds and standardbreds, if you want to talk about that, has gone down dramatically. So the number of available horses in overnights have gone down.
Right.
So, but in a one big beautiful bill, whether it's a stake horse or you claim a horse, I mean, that whole thing is written off immediately. And so it has a tremendous tax advantage. It's the same thing. If I buy a radio tower and it's, $500,000, we write that off. Now the first 12 months, well, you do the same thing with a horse, right? You buy it, you write it off. And so that it gives you a tremendous tax advantage. And Andy Barr was the one that put all that in. He deserves.
Well, congratulations to him, because that's the impetus really in this syndication idea that I had.
Yep.
And we've got to hit the Keeneland sale in September. So, but John knows all the bloodline. My partner, John Stinton, at Past the Wire, he knows all the bloodline guys. He knows all the trainers. And we're going to deal with the bloodline guys more even than the trainers as we get closer to deciding how we're going to do this.
This is going to bring so much money to horse racing.
You should look at Frank also. And I know it's not as sexy because of the big money's not there, but you should look at syndication for overnights, because the benefit of that is, you get into syndication, you buy a yearling, 2 years later, you're going to see him race. You get in the overnight business, you got a month, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm going to put a claim in today for something we like, and probably going to run him back at Colonial Downs in 6 weeks, and then they'll run, every 3 or 4 weeks.
Sure.
So you have 5 of those, and you've got a race a week.
Sure. And that's the other side of it, John.
Right.
That's the other side of it. I think we're going to start out with Keeneland, though, only because what we're going to do is we're going to try to buy some horses that really have an opportunity to run in reasonably, size races. And, all 5 of them could end up getting hurt and not run. I mean, that's just part of the business. So
that's just the best.
Yeah, when you're buying yearlings, but my partner, again, I put him up against anybody in the racing business. He knows all the bloodline guys. He knows all the guys. And we'll have a top-notch trainer. And, I think that we'll sell out pretty quickly on the first syndication.
No doubt.
I've talked to a lot.
Didn't Fernando
you guys should buy a unit, $50,000 unit, 60 of them.
Aren't you adorable?
So you guys should buy a couple units.
The thing is, Saxman, let's say you do that. You buy a $60,000 unit
50,
and you're a
50.
business owner. All right.
You're right off.
100% that 60,000 is written off.
No, you're right. 50 turns into 60 as your write-off.
Yeah.
That's the accelerated depreciation.
You're getting 120% write-off. So you're spending 50 and you get a $60,000 write-off same
insane.
year.
Year one.
Enormous.
That's insane.
It's insane.
Now think about these Wall Street guys.
It was put in to save the business.
Yeah, think about people that are making as much money as John's making, like $5-6 million a year. These guys are paying big time taxes. Now, I have paid a lot of tax in my day, so this is a great opportunity. And you know what? You never know. You could get lucky. But
the money that's going to come into the industry is extraordinary then, and the amount of money that's going to come on the gambling side is going to be more extraordinary. So.
Bingo.
This is
now you have the game plan. Now you
I see it now. I got you.
Yeah, but I'm not shy about sharing the game plan. PassTheWire.com, Pass the Wire TV. Check our stuff out, and I'll tell you what, we'll want to have you guys on our show if you're willing to come on.
Absolutely,
and we'll have a good time. And maybe we could set up a challenge on something where we can in the NFL where we could pick games every week and see who the hell hits more.
Amen.
We can come in with something. Well, it'll be good for both our businesses.
Hey, Frank, do me a favor on that. You see that little thing at the bottom where the chat is? You see it on your screen? Put your mobile in there so we can stay in contact. That's a private thing. That's not.
We'll have a great we'll have a great time. And I appreciate the time today, fellas.
No, Frank, it's been fun. Hey, Frank, final thing. Other than put your number in there. Final thing before you go. Is there going to be a Major League Baseball strike in 2027 whole season? Yes or no?
No. Why? I just don't think that the pain that would cause is going to be. I think the pain is going to be big enough for them to figure this out.
Yep.
That is a painful.
Are we going to get a salary cap?
Yeah. Well, let me tell you something. What the Dodgers are doing is not fair.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just be honest. Is that fair? You guys are baseball guys. Is that fair?
No.
Well, the coach of the Brewers, I grew up with. And, he was a coach at Arizona State. I sat on their athletic board. Murphy is with the Brewers, he's done a fantastic job. But he gets into the playoffs with the Dodgers and forget it. So it's not fair. And what about the Pirates and all these smaller market teams?
Who are you telling?
You can't. What's their payroll now, guys?
I think it's around $100 million, isn't it?
No. The Dodgers.
I don't think so. Oh no! I thought you meant the Pirates. No, the Dodgers.
I was having a great morning. Let's not do this.
Dodgers is like $1 billion.
Yeah, it's
like
way up there.
I mean, how do you have a league? How do you have a league?
No, you can't do it.
Yeah.
Well, and the most egregious thing is the money they paid Kyle Tucker, who's a 260 hitter.
Right.
And they paid him that money not because they needed him, to take him off the market so somebody else didn't get him. That to me was the straw that broke the camel's back. You can't have a league with that. You just can't do it.
No.
I mean, good for Kyle Tucker. I'm an Astros fan, good guy, but he's a 260 hitter. He got a ton of money so that somebody else couldn't obtain the guy. Asinine. You can't have a league, Frank. You can't do it. So I'm with you there. All right, guys, we got to take off. I want to thank Frank Zaccanelli for being with us. Go to, go to PassTheWire.com, PassTheWire.com, and you're good to go. And I want to also tell everybody we cut into Jay Delsing's show. So we're going to be joining Jay here in progress, Jay Delsing Golf. Guys, thanks for being with us. Fascinating discussion on Godzilla Wins, one of our best shows. And I want to thank Frank for making that happen and our panel for being with us. Coach Vince, thanks for being with us. Dan, I'll see you Monday bright and early.
Yep.
In the meantime, Ann and I are off to Colonial Downs.
My neck of the woods.
Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.